Jason Calacanis is the founder of Inside.com, early investor in Uber and Robinhood. Jason, it is great to have you back. Good morning.
It's great to be here.
All right, so growing competition for these guys. Seems like they've already had their fair share just from FANG alone. What more do you see?
Well, I think they've woken up the sleeping giants, and Zoom is just an absolutely brilliant product. It's really the continuation of what we call in the industry here in Silicon Valley, the consumerization of the enterprise. Slack is part of this movement, and it's to make products that are as easy to use as a consumer product. So really FaceTime and Zoom feel more similar than, say, a Cisco or a GoToMeeting or even Google Hangouts. And you look at the founder authority in that company. The founder has been able to make a brilliant, easy-to-use product that just works on all platforms. And then Google and Skype, Google Hangouts, they've had this massive opportunity and they've just absolutely blown it. And it's really inspiring for founders to know that even against these juggernauts, if you make it a transcendent product, which is what Zoom is, it's really a transcendent product like Slack or Uber or Robinhood or any of these companies. And I'm not an investor in Zoom. They will just take on a life of their own. And what we've seen is this quick education people have gotten in how to set up a home studio and how to do video conferencing properly during the pandemic. So this crisis has just obviously caused a massive tailwind for them. And I think the other competitors will respond. They'll put somebody in charge of Google Hangouts or Skype who knows what they're doing. No offense to the people who have run those businesses into the ground or sideways, but they need to be replaced by somebody to make them better products. And I think, I was very concerned about the company having service in China, developers in China. I don't trust any software, hardware made in China, nor should anybody who hears my voice right now. And that includes Huawei's previously Zoom, which I think they fixed the problem really well, and TikTok, right? We should not let our kids on TikTok or any Chinese-owned apps because it is a real security issue.
Jason, before you go on, just a quick look at your screen there. Warner Music Group has opened for trade, biggest IPO of the year, now at $27.76. Of course, the original target was $23.26, having priced this morning because of the move of solidarity from the music industry yesterday. David talked to the CEO earlier this morning. We're going to definitely watch that trade. All right, but your view on Zoom is that they overcame some of those early stumbles, but what would be the implications of having to go to a larger degree free? I mean, and what do you make of these gross margins that have come down as the cost of revenue has gone up?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge business because right now it's a feature, right? It's a feature of Slack. It's a feature of Gmail. It's a feature of Cisco's product line. And we say your margin is my opportunity in the business here in Silicon Valley. In other words, if you're making a big profit there, we'll make it free and then we'll make it on some other product. So I think that's going to be their challenge. They need to continue to make the product indispensable, the industry standard. And I think if they charge a relatively modest price for it, I think the prices are pretty modest, and they might even want to lower the prices of it to just make it impossible for somebody to displace them. So I'm long Zoom. Obviously, the valuation is very rich for a company that's, I guess they doubled their guidance, which is extraordinary in and of itself. But, is it worth 30, 40, 50 times their top line? There's plenty of analysts here who will be able to chime in on that.
Jason,
but, it's a very rich valuation.
I'm wondering, good morning, by the way, it's John.
Good morning, John.
I'm wondering if you're long Warner Music Group. I mean, it raised $1.9 billion in this IPO. And I don't know, if you had told me a couple years ago that one of the big three recording companies in the music industry would raise anything close to $2 billion, I'd have thought, nah. And even now, with Spotify investing in podcasts, not in music particularly, is this a really smart bet that maybe has been overlooked over the past couple of years, or is it something else?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
Because?
Yeah, I just think the music industry is super challenged. I mean, obviously, they had pinned all of their hopes in the music industry on touring and merchandise, and obviously touring is going to be challenged for the next year. So I wouldn't see any reason to jump in there. I think Spotify is a really legitimate, aggressive, well-run company. Again, when we talk about founder authority, if you look at Zoom, if you look at Slack, if you look at Tesla, You cannot make Zoom, you cannot make Slack, you cannot make the Cybertruck without that founder authority. And Daniel Ek, from Spotify falls into that. I don't know if anybody at Warner Music is going to be able to make a transcendent product that connects with consumers. I highly doubt it. You very rarely see somebody who's not a founder make a product that the world falls in love with. And so I like to look for the companies that are going to be gigantic in 10 years and will continue to exist. And I would not put Warner on that list.
Jason, it's Morgan. Speaking of founder authority, Facebook, obviously a hot topic of debate and controversy right now, both within the company and within society at large. Want to get your thoughts on that, especially given the fact that I did see your tweet about funding a potential alternative. What details can you give us on that front, too?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never trusted Zuckerberg. I think he's bad for the industry. I think he's bad for society, and we've proven that out. He does not have the moral compass or just really the ethics or morals to run something at this scale. It's not in the best interest of democracy for him to be in charge of so many users. The reason he is cozying up to Trump and taking Trump's side is because he wants to buy the next Instagram. Because let's face it, Zuckerberg's never created anything original in his life. Facebook was a copy. Instagram he bought. WhatsApp he bought. And then stories he stole from Evan Spiegel. I think he's a thief who just steals other people's innovations and executes brilliantly on them. But there's a reason why he got a $5 billion fine, the largest in history from the FTC. And previously he had the record before that. And if you've seen the movie, he screwed over his co-founders. And if you look at the Instagram founders and WhatsApp founders, they absolutely hate and detest him. And people go to work there because he buys them off with RSUs. I don't have strong feelings about this, but people should leave the company.
Oh, you don't?
And people, I don't.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel about Mark Zuckerberg?
It's pretty important right now for us to think about the moral compass of leaders, obviously with what's going on in the streets and what's going on with the economy and what's going on in Washington, D.C. and the lack of leadership we have. And Zuckerberg is Team Trump. If you believe Trump is an amazing president and you want to see more of Trump, well, you should buy the stock and you should work at Facebook. If you think Trump is horrible and should not be in a leadership position anywhere in the world, then you should not buy the stock. You should not work for the company. And I'm hoping, 3, 4, 5 people of color, hopefully, who work there and who know how to build great products will email me, Jason at Calacanis, and I can give them $1 million to create an Instagram competitor. Because the truth is, black culture is what has driven the growth of both Twitter and Instagram. But Instagram does not share any of the money with the artists on Instagram who have built that service. And if Jay-Z, Beyonce, Cardi B, LeBron James, and any number of African-American artists were to leave that platform, it would be absolutely brutal. And that's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping that people leave that service and create a competitor.
We will see. It certainly has not happened, to your point. They still are the lion's share of attention getting on that front. We're out of time, Jason. It's good to check in with you, though.
Pleasure.
We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, great to hear from you. Everybody stay safe.
Jason Calacanis.
Yeah.
Let's get to the judge in the half.